Hi, friends, and welcome to Season 3 of the School Librarian Learning Network podcast. I'm Steve Tatro, often known as Dr. T Loves Books, and I love talking about all things related to school libraries. I'm an old dog who's always trying to learn new tricks. That's why at each episode of the SLLN podcast, I'll chat with a school librarian about a lesson, program, or activity they love. Hopefully, this can be a place for school librarians to get ideas and find new ways to engage with their students and staff. Speaking of which, I'd love to hear about what you and your friends are doing in your school library. Email me at drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com to tell me about what you're doing, offer feedback about the SLLN podcast, or to request a podcast sticker. As Amie Herman likes to say, being a guest on a podcast is a great way to show your admins you are engaged in meaningful professional development and leadership in the profession. So drop me a line and let's chat. That being said, the opinions and ideas shared in this podcast by myself and my guests are our own and do not reflect those of our school districts. I just like to geek out about school libraries. So without further ado, let's get to this week's episode. Hey everybody, I'm back and I've got a guest that I think is my farthest away physical guest ever, which is awesome and I'm very excited. So this is going to be great. So without further ado, let me say welcome, Helen. I'm so glad you could be here. Why don't you take a second and tell folks who you are, where you're at, and what you do.
So hi everyone, my name's Helen Farch. I am in Melbourne in Australia, so yes, quite a long way away. So I work in a government school, I guess you might call a public school library in Australia, in Melbourne. We're a relatively small school of about 300 students, co-educational. So I am a library technician I guess you would call a paraprofessional, and I run the school library. It's relatively common here that like a library technician, particularly in a government school, runs a school library. Often there is no teacher librarian or librarian. So, so we run our program. We're open Monday to Friday, 8 till 4. We have kids in before school, lots of kids at recess, lots of kids at lunchtime. Because I'm not a teacher, we don't have classes come in where we actually teach them lessons, but we definitely have classes come in and we run activities for them and do borrowing and everything like that. Yeah, so we're just basically, we like to say we're the heart of the school, very popular place in our school for students to come in and maybe not necessarily borrow a lot of books, but we have games and we have puzzles and we have social areas and things like that. Yeah.
That's awesome. And, that's all stuff libraries, the well-run library program is going to have all of that stuff in addition to books. And I know most people just default to library books. That's what we do, but so much more going on. And clearly your students are enjoying it. And I've got to say, I have seen your Instagram account for a while now, and I just love every time I check out your Instagram account, there's something fun or interesting going on there. It always makes me smile. So I'm so glad we're getting a chance to have this conversation. And we're actually here to talk about a very fun program that you're doing. And I'm just as soon as I saw you mention this, I was like, I need to know more about this. So where did this idea originally come from? Like, what was the genesis of this?
I don't know about over there. We have coffee cards when you go to cafes here. So, you have a takeaway coffee, they stamp your card, get 6 coffees and you get a free one. So we were trying to come up, I was trying to come up with, I should say, so we have myself, I work 3 days a week. I have a colleague who works the other 2 days. So there's only ever one of us there at a time. I was just trying to come up with ways to encourage borrowing. So, so we came up with the idea of the library borrowing card. Yeah, basically the student borrows a book. We give them just tick off. Once they get to 6 books, they get a sticker, nothing very exciting. Well, I didn't think it was very exciting. The kids
sometimes
loved
stickers
them.
are like, yeah, absolutely. I was going to say.
Yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised how popular this was and how popular the stickers were. And then at the end of each term, what I do is do a random prize draw. So put all the completed cards into a random prize draw and student wins just a small bookish related prize, a nice bookmark or something like that. And then I put all the non-completed cards in the prize draw as well, so that students who don't necessarily borrow 6 books but have borrowed some books that get a chance to win a prize as well. So We do that at the end of each term.
Nice.
And yeah, like I said, it's been really popular. We do keep the cards with us at the circulation desk, so the kids don't have to remember to bring them with them.
Gotcha.
I would say it's mostly a reward for the kids who are already borrowing, but that's fine. Like, you know, we do lots of things to try to encourage more kids to borrow, but let's reward the kids who do borrow already. So,
absolutely.
And then, but it has actually encouraged, like I had one student and she wanted stickers. So I said, all right, you borrow a book, I'll give you a sticker. You know, I can be a bit liberal with the rules. Sometimes it's like, oh, yeah, this is your first card, have a sticker. But yeah, so she kept borrowing books and to get stickers. And she came back and told me that she'd read, I think she was in year 9 at this stage. So yes, I should say I'm a secondary school. So I work with teenagers. She said, you know, this was the first book I read since I read a book with my grandma when I was 10 years old. So, you know, she went on, she came along to our book club meetings and yeah, so it definitely has just been a fun, really low-cost way to encourage students to borrow books. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And
I love that,
this
man.
first term, I think the post you saw had a huge stack of books, and we have some of our new Year 7 students who just borrow so many books. Like, we don't actually have a limit on how many books a student can borrow. I just say, if you can carry them, you can borrow them, particularly
That's awesome.
The ones who borrow manga. They, will borrow a lot. So, so it's just been a really, really popular and just really low-cost way to celebrate borrowing books and reading.
It's so brilliant. It's so simple, but so brilliant, like all the best ideas are. And how long have you been doing this library loyalty card program with your students?
I'd say about probably the last 2-3 years.
Okay,
so
great. So now you've got a population that's sort of familiar with it and like kind of knows to expect it and kind of talk it up with your other students, I imagine.
Well, I guess they see the stickers because, you know, then they put them on their laptops and everything like that. So, yeah, you'll get kids and come and say, well, can I have a sticker? It's like, yeah, borrow some books.
Hey, whatever it takes. I'm all about getting books in kids' hands. And
exactly.
We're more than books, but also books.
They won't be like, well, yes, you can have a sticker once you've borrowed 6 books. It'll be like, borrow a book, I'll give you a sticker. If they read it,
Absolutely.
I can't control that.
Play fast and lose with the rules.
They're still surrounding themselves with books.
Well, that's it. And they can't read them if they don't have them. So at least if they're in their hands, you're getting them that much closer to at least opening that book. And I love that you've got students who are saying like, oh yeah, I haven't read, but now I'm going to get a sticker and now I actually read the book. Like that, to me, is some of the best evidence you can have that this is a worthwhile program to do.
Exactly.
It's one student, but I'm sure it's not just one student's experience. You know, that's the one you heard about, but that I'm sure is going on with other kids too. So that's awesome, man.
I've had siblings compete about how many cards which one can actually fill in more cards. So, yeah,
Love it.
It can be a nice little friendly competition as well.
Well, that's it. I mean, especially teenagers at that age love competition. So, like, it adds that little bit of a fun, you know, it's not going to be like a serious, we're going to throw down about this, but man, what a fun little thing to be able to say like, oh yeah, I've got 5, I'm going to get 6 before you get 6. So you had said that some of the kids, like, especially with the manga, will take out a stack of books at a time. So like, is the library loyalty card for a punch for every book, or is it every checkout that they do?
No, every book.
Like every time they come through. Okay.
Yeah. So if they borrow 6 books, they fill up a card straight away. So yeah, you'll have kids say, oh, I've only got to get 2 more, borrow 2 more to get a sticker. I'll just go grab 2 more.
Why not? Might as well. And so you said you've got about 300-ish students. Have you got a ballpark sort of an idea of how many cards you ended up with in your last go round?
Yeah. So at the end of term 1, which is, I think it was a 9-week term, I think I had 84 cards done.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
It was a bumper year, bumper term.
Yeah, man, that's not bad at all. That's like, I don't know, quick math, but it's got to be like almost 30% of your students that are engaging with that. That's awesome, man. And for the price of some stickers and some toys.
Some students had about 10 cards that they completed.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I always have to take Circ stats with a little bit of a grain of salt because I know that, you know, in my school, there's maybe 5 students that account for a huge portion of all of my circulation, but I'm going to count it. I'm going to say, you know, when you start looking at numbers and those kids, those ones that are really, really taking advantage, they're going to sort of have a little bit of a like a knock-on effect that other kids are going to see that they're engaging with this. And whether or not they're necessarily engaging with the program, I'm sure that it's helping them at least think a little bit more about what they're reading and like connecting with their friends about, oh man, these great books that I read, whether or not they're coming for stamps. Although I imagine that they would really want to get those stickers.
Yeah, they do. And then, at the end of each term, we, in our school learning management system where we send out messages and that, I always put out, okay, so, we've had a great term with the borrowing cards, and these are the students who have won prizes. And yeah, so it's out there so other students can see that this prize is involved.
And what a great piece of sort of advocacy for your library space too, because it's a chance for you to report, like, look at how our students are borrowing. Like, even if they're not completing cards, you're giving out cards, and you're getting them excited about the program in a way that they might not otherwise maybe interact with the space. So that's a great opportunity to kind of say like, hey, look at how awesome we are over in the library, to your administrators, to your teachers, I'm sure to your families too. I'm sure these kids are going home and be like, hey, look what I won. So that's a great thing for them to be able to kind of bring home or bring to wherever they're going and say, look at how awesome the library is. So good on you for bringing that to them.
And of course I always post about it on my library Instagram account, which, obviously quite a few people in our community follow. So, they get to see it that way as well.
It's great. I think it's awesome. And it's it's a fun program. It's something that, like you were saying, you can kind of be very liberal in your interpretation of how you're going to apply things. And, maybe those students who need that little bit of an extra, hey, here's a little bit of extra boost to kind of get you to take this book or read this book. You've got that flexibility. You've got those options. And it couldn't be more simple. You're not pushing kids into reading something they don't want to read. You're not, forcing them to say, it's got to be this many pages. It's got to be this, you got to read 800 pages before the end of the mark period, whatever it might be. Like, this is just a very straightforward, pick the things you like. You're going to get rewarded for just enjoying things in the library. That's awesome.
Exactly. Like I said, it's a way to reward our readers, because, we reward sports for kids in the school and, all other activities in the school. But this is just a really simple, small, but surprisingly popular way to reward the kids who borrow books. And if it encourages other students to borrow books, even better.
Yeah, definitely. And I can see that there's lots of possibilities for ways you could kind of, you're talking about how it's sort of recognizing our readers in a way that we don't always get to do that. So many options for being able to say, like, here's the person who, here's like the person who turned in the most cards, or here's, the top 3 card turner inners, or I'm sure that there's different ways you could kind of play around with this and do like, my brain's just kind of spinning out and all the different possibilities here, but you could do like themed cards, you could do like genre cards, and different ways of sort of organizing this and playing with it to kind of give the students maybe gentle nudges in certain directions to try this and try that. And if you don't like it, that's okay, bring it back. But like, still so open and free, and still celebrating the fact that we are readers and that we are in a reading community. Man, this is fun. I really like that.
And one of the things I've thought about doing but haven't yet implemented is, like, we have house systems, red, blue, green, yellow houses, is actually tying in, you get house points, do the cards in the house colors, and you get house points for every card you finish. And then we can have like a tally up. So that's another thing that I've been considering doing, haven't yet implemented, but like, it's endless possibilities to do different things. Yeah,
absolutely. And great opportunity for that house competition to sort of maybe goad them on a little bit. Like you were saying, sometimes siblings will kind of go at each other about how many cards or how many points. Here's a chance for sort of bringing that additional sort of gentle persuasion from your peers into getting the library space even more utilized. Man, I love it. So many options. Boy.
So many options.
So are your houses by grade, or are they is it sort of like all grades in each house?
Yes, all grades in one of the 4 houses.
So then there's even the possibility, if you really wanted to get crazy with it, you could even start slicing it up into, here's the 7th grade winner for blue house, and here's the 9th grade winner for green. Like, really get wild and crazy. That's probably more work than it's worth, but just so many options, so many possibilities. That's really fun.
Minimal work is also good.
Yes, well, absolutely. No, there's a time and a place. but I can definitely see lots of ways that other folks might be able to incorporate this in a lot of their different organizations within their school, sort of, grade levels, houses, whatever sort of divisions within the school that we've got that we can kind of take advantage of in order to sort of promote the space with a program like this. It's so great. Man. So the students are taking advantage. I'm curious, have any of the teachers tried to take advantage?
You actually just got me thinking that before you said that. We haven't actually done it for the teachers, but that's actually something I could consider. Yeah, definitely.
That might be a fun one too. There's your other level of competition, getting the teachers versus the students and the teachers versus each other to kind of take advantage of your space and take advantage of your resources.
Absolutely, yeah. So no, it might be a way to try to encourage some of our teachers to borrow some books, yeah.
And one of the things I love is, like you said, it's not really tied to any specific requirements in the reading. It's just get some books. So it's really wonderful at really allowing any student to take advantage. Like you don't really have to worry about differentiating for different ability levels. You don't have to worry about differentiating for even necessarily different languages, because students can come in and just find the things that work for them. And it's really more of an encouragement to use the space than it is to focus on moving a particular type of book or something like that. So that's a really wonderful kind of built-in aspect of this that I really enjoy too. Anything that we can kind of simple, but also encouraging and doesn't require a lot of finagling on the backside to kind of make it available for all of our students is really wonderful. And this does this so well.
Exactly.
So many awesome options, so many possibilities. This is so great. I'm so glad you came to share this.
To implement a few different options this coming school term as well. I might have to use your ideas as some inspiration to step it up a step.
Please do. That's one of the things I love about having these conversations is it's always just a chance to kind of throw around different thoughts and ideas and just look at things from different perspectives and come up with neat ways that we can just make the library a place for everybody. And you're doing that already, and I love that you're even willing to kind of play with other options for it. That's really awesome.
That's the thing. You do the same thing for, been doing it for 3 years, and you're like, oh, yeah, this works really well, and then you just let it keep running. But then, like you have a conversation like this, and it's like, oh, actually, let's try doing this as well. Like it's the same system, you're just tweaking it a little and giving it a go. Yeah, you got to hustle. You've always got to hustle in the school library to try to maintain interest.
Absolutely. 100%. And, that's one of the things that I know I've been in schools for a long time now, multi-decades as a teacher before I went into the library. And it's so easy to sort of just get into a rhythm and you're used to, I'm going to do this thing because I always do this thing and I know this thing works. And sometimes you stop thinking about it. And so that's one of the things I love about these conversations is it helps me think about things in a new way. Even if I was doing something like this, I wouldn't necessarily be doing it in the same way you're doing it. And that helps me kind of see there's new possibilities, there's new options. So I love that you are here sharing this.
Yeah, it's great to have those different perspectives on something, even if it's a program that works really well. There's always, let's just try this as well. So
absolutely, that little bit of a tweak. So I'm kind of curious if somebody has not started their own library loyalty program and they're looking to do it. Do you have any suggestions that they should kind of have in the front of their mind as they're getting ready to implement? Is there any inside scoop that might make them be able to make them transition to this a little bit smoother, or anything that maybe was surprising when you first got it going?
Well, apart from being surprised at how popular stickers were, because, for a little bit it's like, implementing it's like, well, what do I use as a prize and as an incentive? Obviously, stickers are a pretty cheap option. I think particularly with this program, it's pretty straightforward. You just, we started, I would say I started with cards where you had to have borrowed 10 books and then 10 books to finish the card. And after doing that for the first term, I was like, yeah, it's a bit much. And that's when I tweaked it down to 6. And that certainly helped because, the kids see the reward sooner. So that was, just be prepared to, like you're saying, like we've been saying, tweak things as you go along. It was after I'd done it for a little while, I thought, oh, well, let's do a prize draw at the end of each term as well. And that was just a fun way. Like I would do things like put all the cards in a bag. I'd go to our principal saying, hey, do the, pull it out, and we, post that on social media that, the principal was drawing out the winners and things like that. So, yeah, I would say, don't overthink it. Just dive in and do it. It's pretty easy to, jump on Canva and create a borrowing card and get yourself some stickers and just dive in and work out how it best works as you go along.
I think there's two awesome things you just said in there. I mean, there's multiple awesome things, but the two that really leap out in my mind is one, just being willing to just adjust, because maybe it's not quite working the way you want. Okay, that's fine. Just make an adjustment. Like you started with 10, wasn't quite right. 6 seems to be the sweet spot. That's awesome. And like different schools might have different amounts that are going to work better for them. You don't have to be married to a specific count to make this work. Love that. And I also love that you've got the principal drawing names, or whoever, like a great opportunity to have other people in the school sort of be part of this as both a way to kind of show that the library is part of the school and we're going to bring in other people to help us out with it. And also like having your supervisors, your administrators doing those drawings is a great way to kind of be like, hey, look at this thing I'm doing, without having to be like, hey, look at this thing I'm doing. So it's almost like stealth advocacy for your program.
Anything that can keep the library in people's minds is what we're all about. It's we've sort of touched on the fact that I have a library Instagram account, and that's the whole reason for the library Instagram that I started. It was just started as a little project to our budget was being decreased, and I was tried putting stuff in the school newsletter. I'd tried having a library newsletter, but that just took up way too much time, when I'm only there 3 days a week. I think at the time I was doing the library newsletter, I was only there 2 days a week. So it's like, how can I keep the library visible within our school community? So that's why I started the Instagram, and it kind of just went nuts from there. Like, and now my, being able to advocate for school libraries has gone way beyond just our local school community, international, obviously. And it's created a whole lot of opportunities for the school library, for myself personally, obviously. But, we've had people come on school tours purely because they know about the school from the library Instagram. We've had people come to open night saying, oh, we came because of the library's Instagram.
That's awesome.
I can walk into, a bookstore saying, oh, you're the library person. You're that library lady. So
that's the best. Wow.
Yeah. So again, that keeping the library visible, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Like, I mean, obviously all the nuts and bolt things of running a school library, but that being visible, it's such an important part of our role, for better or worse.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, that is true, for better or for worse. That also actually now has me thinking, like, if you've got principals drawing, you've got supervised drawing, what a great opportunity to also maybe get like a parent group. The president of it, like we've got parent teacher associations where like parents are sort of helpful volunteers on different committees in the school. Maybe one of them draws at one time to kind of be like, hey, look at this library program we're doing. Maybe we've got school boards made up of parents or adults in the district who sort of make decisions for the district sometimes. So like, what a great opportunity to be like, hey, school board, why not do the drawing for this marking period? Like really that opportunity to give them a positive interaction with the space and a positive student connection with the space, kind of tying all those things together. Boy, so many options here.
Our prizes are, relatively small, like it's a bookmark, it's a bookish mug, something like that. But, depending on your school's budget, it can be something, you can make it a book, things that cost more money. And then, you can have like your parents association contribute to the prizes or something like that, So, but it fits around your budget. A small budget like myself, it's something simple. If you've got, a more generous school library budget, then, I mean, to be honest, I actually buy the stickers and the prizes myself. I don't do that out of my library budget. It's something I personally do, which is why they're not big.
I think a lot of us are on that train.
Every teacher, everyone who works, it's what you do. Again, for better or worse, it's our reality.
Yep.
Yeah. So, it doesn't matter what country you're in. No, so obviously there's ways you can get other parts of the school involved or the school community involved. If, my school actually doesn't have a parents association. Most schools probably do. We actually don't have one at the moment. So but if we did, again, you've inspired me. Maybe I could ask for those things. I mean, and I also have in the past for these things reached out to bookshops and other organisations asking for donations of prizes. And so that's worked for us in the past as well.
That's awesome too. And that's a great chance for some cross promotion.
Exactly. I've been to bookshops and they've, even a $10 voucher for a bookshop, and and we, like I said, it's cross promotion. So yeah, so there are things as simple as a loyalty card. You can obviously do so much. That's the thing I'd like to say. Like programs don't have to be complicated. They don't have to be complicated.
That's it.
The borrowing card's very popular, but the other thing I do, if you've seen my Instagram, you'll know I do it every week. It's the would you rather question. Every week I put up a would you rather question, and that gets so many kids into the library just to vote. And these aren't necessarily kids who come into the library for anything else. They might just walk in, place their vote, leave, or they're not necessarily the kids who will ever borrow or read a book, but they come into the library to vote.
Yep. And they're seeing the library as a place to be. They're seeing the library as a place where they can connect with their peers about these, because I do the same thing. I have got a would you rather, and the conversations that go on around, well, no, you can't do that. You got to do this. Well, no, why would you ever do that? Like, it's great.
And if I've been a bit slow putting out a question on a Monday morning, they come in and go, where's the new question? If there's no question there, if I've just taken down the question, I've had kids stand around and just debate as if there's a question there. It's just, and I have it at the circulation desk, so I'm right there, so you can join in the conversations. Every time a teacher comes in, I make them vote. Every time we have an author visit, I make them vote. And then I try to, we had an illustrator visit, so the question was around illustrating, that sort of thing. So again, it costs, all I had to do, I bought 2 containers and some pom-pom things, very cheap. Yeah, that's the message. It's don't get overwhelmed. If you're new to doing this or everything seems overwhelming, there are such simple things you could do that are quick, they're easy, they don't cost a lot of money, and the kids love them.
Absolutely. Man, well, this is awesome. I love that we are giving folks so many different thoughts, so many different ways they can implement something like this. And like you said, simple, but also super effective. So thank you so much for bringing that. I think we are now going to take our 90-degree turn and go into our break.
Book break. Squiddy!
So for the book break, anything you want to share, personal, professional, for students, for staff, for whatever. It can be for just laying out on the beach during your break. Whatever you want to bring. What do you want people to have on their reading radar?
Well, what I want people to have on their reading radar is look out for Australian authors. Maybe totally biased. Australian authors are the best in the world. So it's all very well for me to say that, but obviously not a lot of Australian authors will probably even have their books available in the States. But some do. But look, and I don't know if there's ways to get things, but I would definitely recommend Australian authors. I think it's a different voice to maybe what you're used to. We do have children's authors, adult authors who are just amazing. I know there is an author called Sally Hepworth who writes thrillers, sort of domestic thrillers. She's currently touring the States. So her latest book, so she writes for adults, is called Mabel by Sally Hepworth. She's touring around the States at the moment. Check her out on Instagram. Her books are amazing. Then we have an Australian author who writes YA books. I think his first adult book is about to be released. His name's Tobias Madden. So he's an Australian author. He currently lives in New York because his husband works on Broadway. So he has books out, sort of YA, LGBTQ coming of age books. They're amazing. He has 3 young adult books. He's a great author to look out for. If you're into science fiction, 2 authors I know whose books are available in the States. They write together, Amie Kaufman and Kristoff. They write YA science fiction books together, and they write the Illuminae series, and they write the Aurora Rising series. The Illuminae series is amazing as well, because if you see it, should have brought them with me upstairs where my books are. They look intimidating. They're thick books, but they're told in, and I'm sure there is a technical term for this, but they're not. Their narrative is told through I would say police reports, but police isn't right, but interviews, and it's all in like surveillance reports and diary entries and things like that.
Okay.
So even though it looks intimidating for students, it's a very quick read because it's told in such a different format. So again, they're fun.
Love that.
Fiction adventures. We have some great young adult mystery writers. I don't know if their books are available, but the authors I'd mention would be Amy Doak. She writes YA mysteries, and she's also got a YA dark academia book. Another author called Troy Hunter has YA mystery books. I could go on and on. We have Will Kostakis who writes YA books. We have, Lili Wilkinson. Look, I could go on, and these names probably mean nothing to you guys, but they're big names here in Australia. I would say I predominantly read Australian authors because I guess I do with my Instagram, again, it's really like my goal is I advocate for school libraries, I advocate for reading, and I advocate for Australian authors. That's my 3 goals in life with my Instagram. Unapologetically tell everyone to read Australian authors.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And I have a feeling that these authors are going to be getting a lot of hits on their sales numbers, because I don't know why anybody would not want to get some different perspectives and some different voices in their library, especially if we've got these great YA authors that are writing these awesome books that are, I love this idea of the documentary sort of a novel. I mean, that's something that I think more of our students need to see is, less wall of text and more broken up into easily digestible bits that sounds just like, right up the alley of what Amie Kaufman and Kristoff are doing. And YA mystery, always hard to keep on the shelf. So that's awesome. These all sound great. So thank you so much.
If you look them up, not so much Amie Kaufman, Kristoff does write adult sci-fi fantasy ones. Wouldn't recommend those for your school library. Just be careful which ones you have a look at.
Good to know.
Look, I would just say, again, I know I'm plugging my school library Instagram here, but if you are interested in Australian authors, have a look, because I most days are posting book spotlights for books by Australian authors, young adult, picture books, children's, adult books. Yeah, so if you want some ideas about Australian authors out there, you pretty much just got to scroll through my Instagram and you'll get some ideas.
I know folks are going to want to check it out. Speaking of, where are folks going to find your Instagram so that they can get on there and check out all these awesome authors and all the awesome stuff you're doing in your library?
So I work at a school called Forest Hill College. So my Instagram is FHC Library. So FHC for Forest Hill College. So FHC Library on Instagram. And that's the place. I've tried TikTok and things like that. I'm not cool enough for TikTok. Instagram is Instagram is the place that you'll find me and all the things that we're doing in our school library. I go to lots of author events, review lots of books for authors. So it's all about our school library, but it's also all about really the Australian Melbourne bookish community. And so there's lots of obviously highlights of books that are by Australian authors, and they are amazing.
Yeah, folks, if you're not taking advantage, this sounds like such an awesome library resource. You got library ideas, you got books, what more could you want? It's so great. And I got to tell you, Helen is funny, so you want to check this out. She's got some great stuff on her Instagram. Always makes me smile. So, Helen, I truly appreciate you taking the time. Helen is on break, folks, and she is literally halfway around the world, and she took the time to come and be with us. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for asking me. I was very excited when I saw your message, because I'm actually a big fan of yours. So I was pretty thrilled.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your break, and we will catch up soon.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the SLLN podcast. Be sure to check out the show notes for the episode. They feature links to resources shared by our guest, as well as ways to keep in touch with them, and links to the book break titles. I'd love to hear from you. If you have feedback, a comment, an idea, a question, or something you want to share, you can email drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. That's drtlovesbooks@gmail.com. Know a librarian with something we could learn from? Let us know. Until next time, be good, be safe, and be well.